Welcome everyone to the BlueBird Rivals Mini League Series. I am of course your boy, Son of Jupiter, and joining me for the first time is my boy Wolfie. How are you today? Seems like Wolfie having a little bit of issues here, but that's okay. We're going to talk about everything here today. It seems like right now we have obviously our mini league series in the second stage where we just have finished qualifiers. And now we are going to in the league play series, which is a round robin series. Each team will get the opportunity to verse each other at least once. And then I'll obviously progress through to our grand final stage, which will be next week. So it's really exciting to see what's happening as the obviously the games are being played. We have a now up-to-date bracket standing, and there is a bit of an unfortunate situation. Unfortunately, one of our teams, namely Trash, has had to forfeit the remainder of their matches, which has affected the team standings a little bit. So it means that at the moment, Max's Ranted Rats are currently sitting very pretty at the top there with a 4-0 series. Hazard now 2-1, along with 6-man battalions and Relentless. And Southern Stars in a very, very dangerous situation down the bottom at 0-3, which means that they need to win every single match from here on in just to be back into contention with the rest of these matches. Now, this is where it's going to bring me into what's happening today. We're going to be bringing you 3 matches. Our first is going to be Hazard up against 6-man battalions, and a very, very nice team there. 6-man battalions obviously did a very, very good job last week with the 2-1 scoreline. Obviously, one of those being Trash from this week. So yeah, it was really, really good to see them obviously play through. But before we get into the team lineups, I am just going to quickly mention that this is a crowd-funded tournament. Obviously, BlueBird Rivals has put money into this event to get it started, but every little donation that comes through will go straight to the players. Currently, and amazingly, we have a current prize pool of $280, which will be split in the following ways. We'll have a 60% win 60% split going to the winners, 30% to second place, and 10% going to our third place. So a lot on the market at the moment. I'm just going to quickly check to see if Wolfie is back. Do we have Wolfie in the building? Yes, beautiful. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for all that. My a little bit of technical difficulties. I do apologize. Sorry, but we're here. We can actually have a conversation now. I can actually hear you. Yeah, and I'm excited for tonight, honestly.
It's going to be a really good night. One thing that I always love about these matches is how close that they have been. We had a couple of matches last week. One of the highlights was really the Max's Ranted Rats and the Southern Stars game, where Southern Stars was able to take a map away from the Rats, which is a really good start because they obviously have the lower position, currently 5th in the standings, but they do have a lot of promise. They have shown that they can work together really well, and I'm really excited to see what they bring today. But that's not going to be our first match. Our first match is going to be Hazard versus 6-man battalion.
Yeah, and between these two teams, it's going to be so close. And even though, this whole kind of, obviously there is, a big disparity between who's coming first and who's coming absolute last, but the actual teams themselves, each and every match, they're fighting tooth and nail. They're fighting for every single inch. And honestly, tonight for this first match, I reckon it's going to be close as. I reckon it could go to the whole 5 games.
I really hope so. One thing as a caster is you want to see those game 5 nail biters where it could literally come down to just one goal for the decider. Obviously, as a player, can be a little bit tilting, but for a caster, it's always exciting to bring that high quality content. But now we get an opportunity to look at the team. So for the side of Hazard, obviously, we have the following players. It's going to be Schmoopinator, Cyrexel, and Negative. Very, very strong team. They've had a lot of success quite recently, and obviously at a 2-1 scoreline, they seem to have had a bit of success as well in the week 1.
Yeah, I think for me, though, I'm really looking forward to 6-man's battalion, right? Because I've known these guys for years now, all the way back to almost pretty much season 1. Daesu, number 1, been around forever. Kia as well has always been there, and he's always been up at the highest tier of competition. And as well, having Lurky there is very interesting. Obviously, they do have, a bit of a sub, so they can switch things around if they need. But between the two teams, even though we've seen quite a lot, at least, to the best of my knowledge, we've seen so much of Daesu and Kia. Seeing all these players tonight, it's going to be a close one.
Exactly. Daesu was popping off quite a lot last week, so it was really interesting to see him come back and have a bit of a resurgence into the scene. But I think we've held up the players enough. I think it's very much on the cards to get things started straight away. All the matches that are happening tonight are going to be best of 5, so there will be hopefully at least that opportunity to go to 5 games. But obviously teams will need to win at least 3 to go through, or they definitely will need to win 3 to progress through. So yeah, I'm honestly really excited to get these matches started. Like I said, we are going to be bringing you 3 tonight over the course of tonight's cast. And yeah, we're going to have a bit of variety as well.
Yeah, look, I just want to get straight into this game. Like, I am so excited for this because it's been a little while since I've gotten back into it. And I think all the players as well are kind of going to be jumping into game, as we speak right now. And I think the game's going to be starting right up.
It is indeed. We're going to have the side of Hazard on blue. We're going to have 6-man battalion on the orange side. And already we're seeing Kia coming through with some beautiful dunks, some beautiful positions. Almost a shot there by Lurky. Unfortunately missing in that top corner, but it's going to be Daesu keeping that pressure on for 6-man battalion.
Exactly. Now, you see here, right? 6-man battalion, they're patiently waiting to attack this ball. Lurky wanted to take a little bit of his time, but couldn't quite get to that one. And you see Kiki almost there, but a little bit shaky in game 1 already. Both of these teams making a couple of mistakes, which could prove to be detrimental.
It could be. There's an open net there. Could have been a good situation for Lurky, but Daesu actually drops it down in a dangerous situation, but Smoopinator comes through as a sweeper, manages to get the save there. Now it's negative, trying to move the ball forward, gets a good 50, will get a second touch to the middle, but no one's there. Daesu, very long clear. Lurky just forcing a touch out, trying to get the pass off to Daesu, puts it on the backboard. Negative with the miss, could have been dangerous, but luckily Smoopinator gets the save.
Yeah, but you see again these quick, fast rotations from the side of 6-mans. They keep on getting to this ball as soon as they can, but Negative has the chance, and he gets it. Wow, I was not expecting that one to go in, but it really did.
The Merc powerhouse coming through in Negative. Very inspirational from the man Tango, but he's really making the car his own, and obviously getting that first goal is going to be loving himself at this point. First goal going to Hazard with just over a minute of gameplay made. Doesn't win the kickoff there, but a nice bump that does give Hazard a bit of time and space. Cyrexel, beautiful air drag, gets the second off that kickoff.
And right there, we see Hazard. Not only have they done it once, but they've now done it twice, where they get a little bit of room, a bit of that solo play potential. They really pull through so far. And look at that, a 2-0 scoreline, and it's only been a minute 10.
It's an interesting scoreline already. One thing that kind of makes it interesting is with Negative playing the Merc, if he's going to continue the change after the update comes out, because the Merc will have its own hitbox pretty soon. But more on that later, as Cyrexel does get a touch middle, tries to go for the dunk, can't quite get it. Schmoopinator very awkward in the goals there, has to wait for the bounce, manages to get the touch there, but can't catch it. It leaves it for Negative, but again, not really anything happening here. Kiki, what can he do? Goes for the pass, middle, Lurky gets the touch. Daisy should be able to get the read. No! He's hit the crossbar out. Oh, no.
Oh, that was really painful to see. You could tell that he just wanted to get to that ball as quick as he could, and he just rushed it a bit, and he should have taken the leaf out of Hazard's book, where they're kind of taking the time to get to this ball. It was a good aggressive play, but it just didn't quite pan out.
Oh, you have to feel those in the moment, but luckily they haven't conceded the goal, so good rotations coming through. Lurky with the long clear is going to go straight to Schmoopinator, who does try to look for control, but Lurky challenges fast. He has 0 boost, tries to force it out, but did he manage to steal that in the end?
It was a continuous pressure play, honestly. All of the defenders from Hazard were in such an awkward spot. Negative, basically. He had to reverse onto the wall and back again, and he just put it right in front of the net for his opposition. It was really not what he wanted to do, but he was caught between a rock and a hard place, so he chose to do something at least.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least for the time being, 6-man battalion is getting a goal back, bringing it closer to an even scoreline, but they do have to try and stop this Hazard attack. Kia getting a very early challenge, but 0 boost to try and focus on getting a second touch. Lurky managing a few there as well, but will be blocked out by Cyrexel, who instantly challenges it again, gets the drag over one. Can he get the second? No! It's going to be Daesu going for the open net shot, but Schmoopinator luckily gets back.
Yeah, it was an open net and unfortunately wasn't quite punished. If Daesu would have put a little bit more pace on that ball, it would have worked out fine. But again, he had his teammates to play with, and he's just not taking the time that Hazard have so far in this match to get back to it. But maybe the pressure play might be the way to go.
Yeah, Hazard just need to take a little bit more opportunity of some of their advantages when they have them. Negative getting an interesting touch there in the corner, but Lurky will challenge straight away. Schmoopinator had to force out a touch there, does so, but gives away possession in the same instance. Daesu now, what can he do? Takes a touch to the corner, but Negative is there and waiting, goes for the long clear. Will be able to get a second touch into the corner, forces a touch by Lurky, but Daesu with the pre-jump manages to get a touch.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they're not quite making anything of it. A lot of the time, they're just kind of passing it into dead air. This could be the chance, though. Now Lurky has control. It's only Negative in net. Lurky with the solo play. Daesu going for the demo, but couldn't quite make it happen. They're getting to 90% of those plays, but that last 10%, they just have to pull through.
Ooh, good opportunity here. Cyrexel challenging, but it leaves Schmoopinator open for the shot. Couldn't get any power behind that as he had 0 boost on an awkward angle. So they will leave that for now. Daesu taking it backwards. Interesting choice considering Cyrexel was there. Forces out a touch with Schmoopinator, does put into the middle, but Lurky, brilliant jump to beat out the challenge.
Negative away from the corner. A good play. Tries to just get it out of the way. Oh, an awkward backflip, but seems to work out. There's not too much pressure going on the side of Hazard, but Six-Mans just need to continue this because they have a minute left and they need 1 goal. It's so close. How many shots on net does it require? Oh, the whiff. He couldn't quite get to that one.
Just the pressure of being down at the moment. Too much for Six-Mans Battalions as the opportunities are there, but like you said, the inaccuracy is not working out. They do have possession again. Actually, no, Schmoopinator trying to be speedy to the ball, keep it away from them as best as possible. Negative into the middle. Oh, brilliant touch there by Lurky just to beat out the challenge by Cyrexel.
Both of these teams have had so many close opportunities to get that goal, and they're just not quite making the work of what they need to do to get there. But Daesu took a shot on, and again, it's more towards dead space. Maybe the solo from Lurky could work out, but it doesn't. And with 12 seconds remaining, it's very close and anything can happen.
It really can, especially if the ball stays in the air at 0 seconds. It'll be in the best interest for Hazard to try and keep this ball down as quickly as possible. Cyrexel with the solo play can't quite connect. There will be some opportunity for Kia to keep the ball up, but there's going to be Schmoopinator spiking that ball down and sealing game 1.
Nah, it was a smart play, but Hazard take it. That last second demo worked out. It didn't give Daesu any room at all to move in. And it's looking a bit shaky from both teams, though, I have to admit. The first 2 goals, they were both solo plays that, in all reality, should have been blocked. But both of these teams kind of warming up into the match.
I mean, that's one thing with the best of 5 is there's time for teams to kind of have that warm-up period and make sure that some mistakes that were made evident get fixed. They obviously, were leaking a little bit, especially in that opening period for Six-Mans Battalions. We had Hazard, capitalizing on 2 very quick goals back-to-back and obviously not being punished there, especially that air drag by Cyrexel. It should have been punished, but they were able to get a goal back, so a little momentum building that way, but they need to make sure some of these holes are filled.
Yeah, definitely. Those demo plays from Hazard towards the end of the match were pivotal, but you have to show it is that Negative really led the team. He just came out of the gate roaring, and the rest of them just looked at him in awe as he took that first goal. And then Cyrexel basically took the exact same, page out of the book to get that happening.
Yeah, exactly. Cyrexel and Negative have been teaming up for quite some time, so a lot of trust and a lot of good synergy with how they play. So it's always good to see them link up together to lead the team, as you said, in that opening match. But Six-Mans Battalions, they are definitely an underdog team. They love to be in this situation where they have to fight and claw back to get a chance at the victory. So we'll hopefully see that today as Daesu does get a challenge there. And Lurky actually beautifully placed to get that first touch, gets a nice touch there for the second, almost forces out a goal, actually forces out a double commit, but Cyrexel will clean up.
And a great clear, but it just handed to Kia. He had some really good positioning. Now the solo play. Daesu goes for the bump, but Negative pulls that out. What fantastic positioning. He managed to clear it out for his team. That was so close to being a goal, but he's playing out of his mind at the moment.
Negative in that first game as well, very aware of what the other team is going to do, whether it's a demo play or a passing play, very on the nose with his style of gameplay, so very well done by him. But this is looking very dire as Daesu does get a nice flick up, but will be challenged straight away by Hazard, and this is a dangerous situation. 2v1, Cyrexel with the ball, Negative with the follow, but they haven't used it well.
Yeah, they really haven't. But the big thing about it is that they're just testing the defense, right? They're trying different abilities, different opportunities, seeing what's working, what's not, and I think they'll eventually get a game plan out of it. So I think it's for the best overall. But at the moment, it does look a little bit awkward. Maybe Daesu can make quick work of it, but couldn't quite get there.
Well, that could have been a very easy double, but Daisy unfortunately not reading it. And now Hazard trying to build off some momentum as they do get possession. Schmoopinator does get it on the roof of his car, gets a beautiful flick with the Dominus. Lurky forced to take a touch, and this gives time and space to Negative. He goes for the infield pass.
Oh no! Oh, surely that's a goal. What a fantastic pass. That midfield to the banger on net, and it just hit the corner and out. That's so unfortunate. But again, we see that 90% of the right play. It's that last 10 to 5% that has to get working. Because if not, we're going to have so many more of those opportunities where we're just hoping them to go in.
I can't believe it went post to post and still did not go in. We do see a pass there by Lurky. It would actually, I thought it would have been a shot, but doesn't get the accuracy there. Couldn't cut it fine enough, and that does leave a little bit of awkwardness for the side of six-man battalions. But they do manage to rotate quite well. Kia now with the shot catches the angle very nicely and gets the first goal.
That was set up from a mile away. Kia saw Lurky go up for the ball about 5 seconds before it even happened. He was so ready for it. And the funny thing is, right, this literally the exact same play happened from Hazard a second before and they failed. But Six-Mans came back and said, hey, we could do it just that much better, and it ends up in a goal.
Exactly right. You know, the fact that they were able to get that passing play very well executed. And this is a second opportunity, and this is so strange. It's almost a deja vu, but opposite from game one.
Yeah, just a mistaken defense, unfortunately. Negative catching the corner of the goal just there, and then Kia making quick work of it. It was a bit of an awkward play from Hazard, but it was definitely smart of Six-Man's battalion to actually make quick work of it and actually just go for a shot there instead of hoping that, you know, there was a defender there and moving on from it.
Yeah, it seems like these unforced errors are going to be the biggest tell of how a team's going to succeed today, as a couple of unforced errors has led to scoring opportunities, but this is a good return, a good counter-attack by Hazard, and with that passing play, Negative seals the first goal.
Hazard finally got to show that he has the accuracy. There we go. We saw him in offense last game. We saw him in defense at the start of this game. Now he finally clears it up and says, hey, you know, I might have made a mistake in defense before, but now I can finally put it in the goal for my team.
It's good to get that goal, especially leading towards that halfway mark. It's going to be a good momentum shift. But Lurky, very good touch, good control on the ball. Does manage to get the shot off as well, but Cyrexel does manage to get there just in the nick of time. Good challenge there by him as well in the corner. It's going to be Negative to take over. He's got boosted ball. He can make a good solo play. Opts to leave the ball though, and that allows Six-Man's battalions to set up a counter-attack.
Well, it was a 1v2 situation. He was up against two defenders, and so he wanted to clear out one, but it was a smart play from the side of Six-Man's. But there we go. It's an open net and a clear goal opportunity from Hazard to make quick work.
I love the threat of Negative in this play, because even though he more than likely was going to be beat out, he forced out a really awkward touch by Kia, and that allowed Schmoopinator to have that open net opportunity. So it's those 1% plays can really define and separate these teams.
You can really see that Negative's putting in absolute work for his team. Like, he's not a passenger. He is the absolute pilot, but almost managed to get another goal on the board for his team, but couldn't quite connect.
Oh, that would have been a beautiful ones play. Unfortunately, there are other defenders on the field and can't walk away with that third goal. Schmoopinator taking control of it. Doesn't have a lot of boost. Just needs to get past one. Does do so, but has given the ball away at the same time. There was a demo happening in the background as well, but no advantage given as we see Daesu taking control. He looks to try and cut the angle well enough, but Cyrexel is there and waiting for the save.
Yeah, couldn't quite make that touch, but manages to get to the ball. Daesu, though, you can tell he's getting a little bit impatient. He's cutting those rotations right in front of his teammates. He's trying to push it forward and get to the goal, but Cyrexel might have actually scored the goal for Schmoopinator, but no, couldn't quite connect there. Now, you'll see here Six-Man's battalion have to retaliate themselves with their own attempt, but again, it's blocked out.
It is for the time being, but there is a demo, and Negative's forcing out a couple of plays there as well, but hadn't got the boost to actually set something up. Schmoopinator managing to get a bump mid-air, but again, no advantage paid at this point in time. Lurky trying to get it past Negative, but can't, and now they're on the back foot. Daesu, good control for now, but he will be challenged straight away, although a bit of a whiff there, and some team bumping. This is not looking good for either team.
Yeah, it is definitely looking a bit shaky, but it's so funny because game one's always a bit of a litmus test for everything, but it seems like game two is as well. And right now, though, it's only 25 seconds remaining. They're really trying to push for those plays. I think both teams, they're really going for those impatient pushes, you know? You see them kind of go for the solo plays. They're really not giving themselves the correct time in order to make it happen.
Exactly, although there's going to be an opportunity here by Negative. He does clear one, can't clear a second, but Schmoopinator should be able to get the infield pass. Cyrexel opting not to go for that with the amount of time that's left. It could have been the smart play as there's still time. The ball is still up in the air. The Rule 2 situation as the ball almost actually will hit the ground and we'll have our first overtime.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see here what happens, though. I feel like there's going to be some kickoff strategies from both teams. You see it. They both went for the cheat, but it seems like Daisu was already won the wiser to get there, but almost manages to score that for his team. Again, another solo pass, but no one there. Negative. Can he make it happen for his team? He's really trying hard for it.
Yeah, good control there, good decision making to cut that and keep the possession for the side of Hazard. The team bump there again, causing a bit of confusion and some awkwardness, but Cyrexel not managing to get a touch there will leave 6-man battalions open with a chance. The flick comes through, the angle is good, and Lurky will get the first series point for his team.
Yeah, well, it was actually a demo in net that made it all happen, and the frustrating thing was that Negative had almost zero boost that entire play. He was sitting there hoping to get to it, but 6-man's with a nice cheeky flick manages to score that goal, because even if they win by, 1, 2, 3, 17 goals, they actually win this one and they're back in it.
Exactly right. We're down to a 1-1 series now, which means essentially that the first two games cancel each other out and we have a best of 3. A bit of issues here with Lurky. Looks like he will be joining back, but this is good from 6-man battalions. They did manage to get some really early pressure. There are still some questions as well because they did allow Hazard to get back into the game with 2 goals coming back as well, but it is good signs coming from them early on.
I think patience is the word that we really need to use for both these teams right now, because when they're going for those attacking plays, they're not being patient enough with the ball, and they're not kind of being patient enough waiting for that third man to go in. We saw it at the start, those kind of the 1-2 in the midfield plays really worked out, and that was some great patience from both teams. But as the game progressed, it got kind of a little bit more shakier and scarier. You could tell that both teams really just wanted to make something happen right now, and they didn't give each other, the time that it takes in order to set up a goal and set up a goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah, I think there's that mental factor of being fast enough and trying to be too fast and, trying to be dynamic on the ball at all times. And especially if you're playing and you're feeling like you're not being involved and not having an influence, that makes you question your decision making. And like you said, they just need to be a bit more patient, trust the system and just make those solid plays.
Yeah, I think a bit of, some nice rotations, and we'll see some really clean goals happen. You can definitely tell, though, that 6-man's, again, straight out of the gate, really wanting to make it happen right now and right here.
Exactly, although they will have to get 3 Negative and the Hazard to make sure that they can get this win, which is going to be a tough ask. He's been playing very solidly all night. Ooh, almost an opportunity there by Cyrexel, and Negative, unfortunately, not being able to get the touch. Could have been an early opening goal, but for now, they will hold it back.
Yeah, their pace is there, but again, they were really rushing to get to it. They didn't really, weren't too fussed about how they hit it. They just really wanted to touch the ball. Now Schmoopinator trying to make something happen for his team. Negative, he's already up, and just a little bit more accuracy on these passes. But look, it's a 3v1 play. The bump works out! Daisu, what a great goal by 6-man's. Really working as a team for this one.
There was a real passage of awkward play coming off on that right side, which I kind of think led to this opportunity. We did see Hazard having a bit of an opportunity, as you said, Negative challenging the ball super early, but the overcommit just left Cyrexel in a really horrible situation. That's where having the numbers by your side will have that advantage, although Negative nearly going for his own double.
Yeah, well, it's because they also bumped the defending player in net, so they were managed to score that goal as a team. It wasn't just a 1 or 2 man show, which is really good to see because, even though some players aren't kind of the star of the team, they do put in so much effort and so much work. The whole analogy of the duck and its feet underneath the water paddling like crazy for its team, but not getting kind of any recognition for it. It's always one to see.
Exactly. Play does continue. Currently the lead with 6-man battalions. Negative trying to make something happen out of nothing. Does well enough, but doesn't have enough boost to make it happen. Now Schmoopinator should be looking to control this ball. He does do so. He actually decides to bang it, and it leaves it up to Daisu to go for a long play, but it will get slapped out by Cyrexel, who almost just randomly lands with the double. It's going to be Dasu challenging the ball, but lots of favor starting to build for the side of Hazard. Kia is awkward, manages to get the touch there, but it will be a bit of back and forth for the teams.
But again, that was just a kind of a touch or a push into center. Didn't really go anywhere. There was no touch or no teammate ready to go for it. Dasu now trying to make an opportunity of his own. But again, possibly a good play here happening. 1-2, the third man not quite there. The passes just aren't accurate, and they're not as powerful or punchy as they need to be.
Yeah, although that is a beautiful pass down by Cyrexel. Negative almost cutting it out, but there was a defender there ready and waiting. BlueBird trying to get over the attacker, but can't do so. Negative does force out a 50, which Cyrexel now has to try and control. Does manage to get the flip reset. Doesn't have any boost to follow it up, though, but he has burnt a bit of time for his teammates to be able to rotate back and get the correct positioning.
Exactly, and we see here Negative trying to push it forward, trying to get it into that kind of scoring opportunity for his team. But Lurky with some great defending, some really kind of 1-2 pushes. And now you see here again, it's that center pass, but it's not exactly as accurate as they want it to be. Backboard play could do something here, though. That is a great bouncing shot, and oh, it bounces off the crossbar and down, and nothing can happen from it.
Just a little bit too much power on that bounce shot, but we're starting to see Hazard mount a huge amount of pressure. They seem to be on the attack for quite some time, and Lurky just getting a nose to that save will keep that out for the time being, leaving them still in the lead at 1-0. But they're now starting to mount some pressure here. Lurky should be able to take control of this, goes for the pass, but doesn't get the angle. Negative trying to get the second touch, but unfortunately hit it a little bit too far. There's a demo there by Lurky, which could cause a bit of a power play for the side of 6-man battalion, as Dasu does get a double touch there. Lurky, beautiful speed to force out a miss there, but unfortunately couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, again, see, that kind of forward push by Schmoopinator actually just ends up being, kind of falling into dead air or a dead space, really. Now Dasu trying to control it with Kia. A bit of an awkward 1-2 touch between the two of them, but seems to have worked out in their favor. He's gone for the double touch possibly, but couldn't quite connect with it. Negative, though, has time for himself. A great fake that beats one. Can it beat two? It does, but again, Dasu manages to get back to the ball as well.
Very good vision by Negative. Unfortunately, didn't have the speed to get the pass off to Cyrexel well enough for him to then have a power shot, but it is some good signs for the side of Hazard. But they need to get a shot in right now to tie the score, as they are currently still down with 36 seconds now on the clock. This is going to be make or break. We see Schmoopinator try and get a redirect, couldn't quite get the angle. So Axel does challenge the ball early, but Lurky manages the better read, and Lurky's still trying to be on this ball, but no, he's whipped it. Negative with the opening, he gets the equalizer with 24 seconds remaining.
Oh, it was Kia's misplay. He moved too far forward. Lurky and Dasu were all there, and by the time he turned around, Negative was already pushing it into the net. And that is another tied game. We might be seeing number 2 overtime, and a little bit stressful from the side of 6-mans, it seems.
Yeah, they have had all the answers up until now, and with that whiff by Kira, it seems like Hazard have a sniff of getting them back into contention. As we see Dasu, no control on that ball, unfortunately, but it will be Lurky providing the support. Couple of seconds remaining before we go into that overtime potential, as Cyrexel manages to get a double commit out of the other team. Gets a really awkward touch to keep the ball up as well, but I doubt that it will be an opportunity, as Dasu going for that long clear. No one from Hazard able to catch the ball, and it will be a second overtime.
Oh my goodness, we are having a series right here. This is a great thing to see, though. Both teams are literally climbing between themselves in order to get to this ball. Dasu's the solo defender. He needs to make this touch. He does, but 2 attacking players up, the double commit. This might open the opportunity. It's an open net. Can Dasu connect? No, he can't. Really need to make those opportunities count.
Yeah, especially when the attackers are double committing. You want to punish as quickly as possible, and they're going to be kicking themselves that they weren't a little bit more accurate on that clear, but time will still work out in their favor for the time being, as we see Negative getting a challenge. Kia having the time and space to go for a pass. Lurky trying to pre-flip, just force out a mistouch, but Cyrexel not being sold on it, does manage to get the ball forward. Only as far as Kia, though, who does go for a 50 and manages to get the advantage as well. Get it past Negative. He's getting bumped for all his efforts, but he's still on the ball, forcing out some havoc.
Yeah, he managed to stay on the ball the entire time, and it worked out for his team. And Cyrexel has to push it forward. Again, it just ends up being a pass. Lurky, he had control before and he has it again. Can he make something of it? If he goes for a pass, this might work out. Or a shot on! Now one, can Kia get there? Daesu has to be there as well. He is. Oh no, it's an unscorable again.
Couple of opportunities for six-man battalions gone awry, but they are looking quite strong at the moment in this overtime. They are forcing out some mistouches by Hazard and are able to counterattack quite quickly as we see Kia getting past one, has the ceiling shot, tries to go for it. Actually, there was a bit of a weird situation in the goal line. Kia actually being credited for that overtime goal, and it seems like six-man battalions are starting to make a run for the final.
A defensive mistake from Hazard, an aggressive attack by six-man's battalion, and they take game number 3, it seems. We are having a series and a half. It's back and forth, and this is the second overtime, and that just kept on going.
It really did, but credit to six-man battalions in the overtime. They did seem like they had all the momentum. We saw a couple of shots just narrowly missing thanks to the crossbar or the goalpost. So it's good to see them being credited after so much pressure was being built. But it'd be interesting to see the stats for that particular match, because it seemed to be quite even all the way to the end.
Towards the end, though, six-mans did start to do those aggressive plays that some of the higher-end teams in Oceania do, which is the whole, stealing of boost, keeping in their opponent's half, staying aggressive, and making quick work of defensive mistakes. Because, not going to lie, Kia made one towards the end of it to make it back to overtime. But then right then in the overtime, he managed to actually clean it all up and work well with his team. And they were clean as towards the end there.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very clean towards the end there. But it does put Hazard in a very sticky situation. They are now in a position where they have to win everything moving forward to be the overall winner for this match, which can be a hard task being down, because six-man battalions after that first match have just looked stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I think over the course of the series, and this is really what a best of 5 shows, is it shows progression over the entire time, and it shows that both of these teams kind of progress as they get a little bit better and they kind of hit their skill ceilings, which is really good. But I think both of these teams have some room to improve over the course of this series. Obviously not over a long period of time, but in a short time against each other.
Exactly. It'd be hopefully some good opportunities and some good learning to come from these teams as they are trying to be viable for the upcoming RLCS roster. But a couple of misses there from Hazard is causing a lot of awkwardness. It's allowing six-man battalions to keep up this offensive pressure. We see this infield ball. Kia managing to get a touch there by Saraxel does get the read, and that's going to be the saving grace of them not conceding a goal.
And Lurky now goes for his own push, but negative. Again, we've seen him so many times be active, both in the midfield, attack and defense, all over the place. Manages to clear it out, and it's kind of caught in this midfield struggle between both of them, but Schmoopinator pushing it forward for his team.
Yeah, he tried to go for a 50 there, but Daesu will have time and space to go for a bit of a solo play. Gets past one, tries to go for the ground pitch, but couldn't. Now Negative is trying to set up a solo play himself. Manages to get past one. He's there for the read, and he will get the first goal after setting up a beautiful little touch.
That aggressive push forward, but then he's there stealing boost in the corner. Works out so well. Even though six-man's battalion cleaned up his teammate there, he managed to actually make quick work of the open net and bang it right into the net.
I've seen him do that a few times where he'll make a play, especially as first man, and he'll just go into the corner, waiting for a pass or waiting for some kind of opportunity to get that little redirect in the corner. It finally pays off for him, and now they do have the lead. Hazard early in this match number 4, their match where they have to win to pull it to a game 5 negative. Getting over one. Lurky challenging really quickly. Schmoopinator trying to get the read, but does go past him, and that will be now six-man battalion setting up a counterattack.
Indeed, and Schmoopinator pushing it over to Sorexel. These defensive passing plays are really what you want to see happen. Kia, again, these passes into the midfield, they're so close, but Daesu had to connect to that ball, and it's that minor mistake which actually leaves it wide open for his opposition.
Daesu trying to go for a double, can't quite get it. Negative now with control. Low boost though, will force out a 50, and that allows Lurky to come through. Schmoopinator going for a long clear, just trying to alleviate some of that pressure that's been building. Gets a low 50 and forces out some awkwardness by Daesu, but the control from the man who was obviously at that highest point, very, very skilled, and that won't be testing him at all.
Indeed it won't, and right now, both of these teams really struggling for control over this ball. Taking maybe a little bit more time and going for the solo play might be an idea, but again, no one really looks comfortable this game. You know, we've seen game 2 and 3, they really started to come into their comfort zone, but in this game 4, it seems a bit awkward on both sides. And again, you see there a team bump, bit of awkward misplay, a bit of a miss there from Negative. You know, it's all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It also seems slower. It seems like teams just being a little bit more hesitant to overcommit because they do understand what's at stake. If they have that one overcommit, it could possibly be the game. And we see actually Kia getting a nice 50 there, manages to get through the gap there to keep that ball moving forward for 6-man battalions, but it will be Negative. Good control on the goal line, but he will be forced to make a touch, and that's actually going to be Daisu with an opportunity, but heavy touch means that they can control it and get it out.
Now Shmupinator, this might be his time to shine, but it gets challenged away. Siraxel needs to go for a pass here, but again, it doesn't really do anything. You know, that sort of a push or that sort of a push forward doesn't exactly work out for his team, and it gives the opponents a chance to attack. And again, it feels kind of like big ping pong now. It's back and forth, it's up, it's down, it's all over the place.
It seems to be the default for some of these teams that when you don't know what to do or you're feeling a little bit stuck is to bang the ball and hope for the best. And actually, Shmupinator has done exactly that. Banged the ball, got the waterfall read, and got the second goal.
Yeah, you could definitely tell, though, the defense there was really not okay. Kia tried to go up the wall, couldn't quite make a connection there that he wanted, and Shmupinator made quick work of it. A simple defensive mistake ends up being a goal and putting them in a 2-0 lead, which means that they can most likely drag it back.
Exactly. Hazard now in a really good position to bring this to a game 5. They just need to hold on for the little over a minute remaining in game number 4. Kia making a mistake there allows Sirexel to actually get a third goal, and it's now looking very strong for Hazard to get back in this match.
A little bit of choppy defense, and I guess a fake seems to have worked out so far because Siraxel, that first miss actually worked out in his favor.
Yeah, I always point out that sometimes just the presence of going for a ball can cause hesitation, can cause a misplay by the opposition, and that's exactly what we saw by Sirexel. Shmupinator there almost getting a 4th goal. Unfortunately, those inaccuracies coming into play. Lots of demos coming back and forth as teams starting to get a little bit desperate in this final minute.
Yeah, it's Demolition Derby in Hazard's corner, but a great 1-2 pass. Again, another open net, and I think with a 4-0 scoreline, it's looking all but solidified heading to game number 5.
You would think so, but I'm always reminded quite recently what Realize did in the kickoff series where he managed to get 5 goals in less than a minute. So there's always opportunity to get back into this match. Kickoffs will be a massive factor moving forward though, and this is a great way to waste time. Kia does challenge the ball with 0 balls, puts it in a good position, but unfortunately no one from his team able to capitalize on this opportunity.
You see here now, Daisu goes for a shot, but it's blocked out by Negative. And yeah, you can definitely tell that both of these teams, well, at least Hazard are pretty happy with the way that it's ended up. You can tell that 6-mans, they really want to reset for next series, right? They really want to make sure that they can go into game number 5 with the confidence that they're going to need in order to score and finish off this entire series.
And the interesting to point out at this moment is that right now they're fighting for the 2nd place position. They're both sitting equal second, but they, with this win, could be outright second if all things go to plan. Sirexel forcing out a touch there, keeps the ball up, keeps the ball forward. There is an extra touch there, and a consolation goal will be credited to Kia, but Hazard played very strong in game 4.
I think not only a consolation goal, but I think it's more of a confidence goal. I think they're now going to go into the next game thinking that, yep, like we've beat them in, previous games. We can do this. We can 100% make this happen. But I think Hazard, you could definitely tell from their side of things, they really want to force out those defensive mistakes by keeping the pressure on, while 6-mans really want to go for those passing plays. And I guess the main thing is that they need to interrupt each other's playstyle in order for it to all work.
Yeah, I would have to agree, but I'm just going to quickly draw back to the stats at the moment. We have 8 saves for Hazard and 0 for 6-man battalions, which means that Hazard have been able to control the ball and utilize it way more effectively than what 6-man battalions was. So very interesting statistics coming through in these matches, and it kind of paints a picture of how teams are being so successful.
Yeah, you can tell that Hazard really always have that one man in defense, but 6-mans really likes to push up and stay aggressive. So as soon as Hazard kind of beat that last man, there's an open net waiting for them. Whilst a lot of the time when that happens on their side of things, so when 6-mans do it to Hazard, a lot of the time Hazard, they have that last player there, and it's up to that last player to make that slight error or mistake in order for 6-mans to score a goal. But we're into the final game of the series, and you know, at least the way that the previous games have gone, it's gonna be a close one.
It is hopefully going to be another nail-biting situation for both these teams, possibly another overtime, as we already have seen two in this series so far. And interestingly enough, both of those overtimes being credited to the favor of Six Man's Battalion. So it'll be an interesting statistic to see if it does go to overtime, whether they win or lose. Lurky getting a touch there, tries to go for solo play, couldn't catch the ball well enough, so Cyraxel will do it for him. And now it's going to be Hazard trying to set up the play.
Yeah, Hazard feeling very nervous, you can kind of tell. But again, from the side of Six Mans, they're trying to stay aggressive. Now Cyraxel going for the demo play. The pass, the shot on! Negative! They've opened up the score lines in the first 40 seconds of the game.
Nice composure here by Negative, just to slow down the ball enough for Cyraxel to get in front and force out a really awkward play by Dacer, who couldn't really cut inwards more to be able to get to where he needed to be. So great teamwork, great synergy from these players.
Now Six Man's Battalion wanting to make something work from their side, but again, Negative has control. A flick over the top hits the backboard. That was really what he wanted to do. These solo plays have worked out so well for Hazard so far.
Really have, and Negative, the man who's been really confident for his team, been on the ball pretty much the entire time, does force out a couple of challenges in the corner and will force out Daesu to expend a lot of boost there. And Schmoopin had great control to be able to get that extra touch, almost gets to 50, but didn't have any momentum behind him to get some force. So Axel trying to do as much as he can in the corner will allow Negative to come through with the support, but beautifully done by Daesu to alleviate all that pressure in an instant. Gets the ball into the blue side of the field and sets up some good opportunities for his team. They just need to be able to take it as Negative, getting a banger of a 50 to put some pressure back on.
Now Schmoopinator wants to make a play of his own, but look at that, a pass in, and there's already 3 defenders in net. I think Six Mans are kind of rattled by the way that Hazard have been playing this entire series, and they're not too comfortable with it. You see Daesu sitting right beside Lurky, but Lurky wanting to make his own solo play. I guess the pass off seems to work out. Double commit in defense. This wasted boost might work out in the worst way, but oh, a great last second clutch from Schmoopinator.
Yeah, that almost was a good opportunity there for Six Man's Battalions to get back into this match with the equalizer. Couldn't quite seal it though, and now it's going to be Hazard setting up their own counter attack. Although they have given it away, weren't able to capitalize on that forward pressure. But now Schmoopinator, can he get the waterfall read? No, it's going to be Daesu clearing the pressure.
Now Negative passing it forward, or at least just keeping the pressure on. Half of this game is gone, and already Hazard are at that 1-0 lead. But again, anything can happen in this entire series. We've seen some crazy score lines, and now Lurky and Kia pushing forward, wanting Daesu to come in, and you see him hovering there, waiting to attack.
This is where Six Man's Battalions love to be. They love to have those aggressive rotations. They love to keep the pressure on, but Hazard have done a really good job at getting those long clears and just getting past that last man to set up a counter attack. And this is where Six Man's Battalions have to be careful, because if they concede another goal here, it could be very dangerous territory, as Cyraxel does manage a little bit of a mistake there. Allows Lurky to come in, but the rotations are good from Hazard to keep this ball away from their goals.
You see though, Negative, he really is taking his time with the ball. Each and every time he's grabbed it, he's really tried to make it his own. And that passing off seems to have worked out so far. And, you know, Six Man's, you know, Kia and Lurky, they can't exactly read what's going on as soon as Negative has the ball. But that's the only way they can know where he is, when they take him out of the game.
Exactly. If he's not on the pitch, he can't have any impact, although he is back now and he should look to go up with the forward play. So Rexel going to have that waterfall down. Lurky, I actually thought it was Kia, just getting enough of a touch there, but now it's really up to Hazard to try and keep this pressure on. There's a really awkward touch by Daesu, but Kia quick thinking to get the forward clear, just enough to make sure that they put some pressure on, although even though they get the demo, they are retreating back for the time being.
Yeah, the whole entire pressure, though, is on Six Man's Battalion to make something happen, because they have 50 seconds to score a goal just to take it to overtime. If they can't do it in these last 40 seconds, because Negative has made it a 2-0 lead, it's seeming as though Hazard are going to be taking this game of 5.
You could see that kind of unfolding as Kia got the touch that he did. As soon as it wasn't like an EU clear or something that kind of pushed the ball further away, it puts so much pressure on the final two players, and not really a lot of communication happening there, and they double commit, which led to a very easy goal. So Six-Man Battalion just not finding any advantage here in this last game, and Hazard having all the momentum after that brilliant Game 4 win to 4-1, although there is their first mistake, which could have been punished. There's a lot of pressure. Lurky, can he get the angle? No! They still can't get a goal!
What am I watching? What has happened to this entire series? And right there, Negative tried to make it his own. But that, I think, is going to be the icing on the cake. And right there, Schmoopinator going in. It's a 3-0 lead. It seems as though Hazard are going to be taking it in the last game. But the last two games were very, very convincing and a very smart play from all of them.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see it unfold. You started to see Six-Man Battalions have confidence, have momentum, and have all the answers. But then Hazard just switched it up. I don't know what the conversation was between game 3 and 4, but it's definitely worked in their favor, and they just came out of the gate swinging with a lot of high percentage goals.
And right there, the 0-second mark hits the ground, and Hazard's name comes up on the scoreboard, taking it in a game 5 for our first match of the night. That was all over the place. We saw good, we saw bad, we saw everything in between. I'm really impressed by both of these teams to take it as far as they did.
Exactly. The fact that we got a game 5, is always good to see, and especially to see Hazard come from being the obviously 1 point up in the series, then dropping 2 points and coming back. It was, back and forth, really dynamic gameplay, and a great way to start the stream.
Yeah, I definitely think that Hazard played that very well overall, though, because they managed to make sure that Six-Man Battalions was never comfortable. That's what happened, because that first game, they didn't really know what was going on. The second and third game, Hazard kind of, they couldn't quite hit their stride. Six-Man's managed to take it all back. But as soon as Hazard knew how to stuff up their opponents by forcing those aggressive plays, making a lot more solo plays, it worked out in the end. And look at that. With a 3-0 score for the final game, they really took it convincingly in the end.
Exactly right. And it'd be a good opportunity now to look at the series statistics and just to see what kind of picture's been painted by how the teams were playing and how the individual players had an impact into the match. We obviously had Cyrexel coming off really well, but Negative having a huge, huge impact overall in the match. And obviously a very, very strong player for the team of Hazard. But you can't discount Lurky as well. Lurky doing quite a lot of work. Mostly in the defensive side, he got 8 saves throughout the match, which is over half of his team saves. So doing a lot of work defensively, but just didn't manage to have the support that he needed to keep the attack of Hazard at bay.
Yeah, I mean, if we are talking about anyone, like right then, I think Hazard's team play overall was a lot cleaner and a lot quicker than Six-Man's Battalion, and that was kind of their crux in the end, really. Six-Man's just weren't fast enough to the ball to make those aggressive plays, and it was smart of Hazard to be as fast as they were.
I would have to agree, but that's going to be our first series done and dusted. We are going to take a very short break as we get ready for game 2, which is going to be Southern Stars going up against, again, the Six-Man Battalions team. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back, but that will be straight after this break.